Welcome to Brooks United Methodist Church on your right and Waters Memorial United Methodist Church further north, but in sight from this spot. A steeple from the early 20th century building that was home to Waters' congregation stands to your left. Methodism began as a revival movement in the Anglican Church in England in the 18th century. It launched in Maryland in 1784 from Baltimore and spread like wildfire through southern Maryland. Methodism soon had more adherents among African Americans than any other denomination. In the late 18th and early 19th century, there was one church here called Island Creek. Then the owner of the property, Sewell Waters, carved out two pieces of land. One remained with the white congregation and later was known as Waters Methodist Church. The other was given to the black congregation and in time was called Brooks. On the eve of emancipation, the African American worshipers in the Methodist Episcopal Church were granted autonomy by the national leadership of the church. Though the United Methodist Church is no longer segregated on the national or administrative level, these two churches have remained separate for reasons that have more to do with history than religion. The African American Church was the primary public arena where African Americans could exercise full civic responsibility and privilege in the 19th century and through most of the 20th century. They made their own decisions, governed themselves, and provided for their own welfare. A mutual aid society was formed and a food pantry was started. There was a school on this site that served the community before the county and state supported the education of African American students. The first African American Masonic Lodge in the county was founded on this property as well. The United Methodist Church was officially integrated in the 1960s, but for these reasons, the historically African American and white congregations have remained separate in southern Maryland. If you look closely at the landscape before you, you can make out an impressionistic line between the cemeteries caused by separate groundskeepers mowing the grass at different times. The divisions are starting to change though, as Waters Church has allowed the internment of African Americans as well. If you look closely at the headstones in the Brooks Cemetery, you will find many of the folks we have talked about previously. Everett Gross, who was enslaved on the Turner Plantation, his wife Eliza, who bore 18 children, some of their children and some of their grandchildren rest here. You will also find the graves of at least 4 Civil War veterans who, when they completed their service with the United States Colored Troops, came back to build this community and stayed involved to make sure that it would thrive. The Methodist movement also captured the imagination of white people. At our next stop, which is Christ Church, you will find many of the same last names as you will find in the Waters Cemetery. The older branches of the family are buried at Christ Church, while the younger branches, who left the Anglican Church to join the Methodist movement, are buried here at Waters Church. The cemeteries are wonderful, enormous genealogical documents that allow us to look back and find some of the people who inhabited the landscapes we have been touring.